with Judaism and Jewish holidays in particular, often we feel overwhelmed by all the details. It's just too much information. It's too many things to remember. There's so many symbols. There are rituals, there are customs, there are family customs. There's 101 things to remember to do and 201 things to remember not to do. It just becomes overwhelming. So I thought it might be helpful if we could approach the question, what is Rosh Hashanah in 2 minutes? And so that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to explain and talk about some of the main elements of Rosh Hashanah in 2 minutes. Okay, here goes. Rosh Hashanah is the time that humanity was created, and that day was marked as the beginning of humanity and therefore the beginning of the human year. By having it as the beginning of the human year, it's called the Day of Judgment. It's the day where we stand in judgment before God, our Creator, on the day of our creation. And we put forward our best argument about how we used the past year in the best way we could. But we're very honest about it and accountability because it's a judgment day, so there's a court element to it. And one would never enter a court, and certainly never enter a divine court, and tell a lie. So there has to be honesty and accountability. And those are the prayers of Rosh Hashanah, is when we say, we know that we weren't so perfect, and here's where I wasn't so perfect, but really, because I recognize I wasn't so perfect, I therefore can improve. And I've just shown I am a creature of improvement and growth because I was honest about where I wasn't perfect. And that way, I'm really committing myself and my relationship to God that, in fact, I will be moving forward and growing and doing better, not just with my relationships, but with repairing the world, with tikkun olam, with recognizing this beautiful, beautiful universe that God has created and how I can make it better, and committing myself to this. There's also the question of atonement, which is the idea that I don't just sit there and say, okay, here are the places I didn't do well. Oh, well, too bad, I sinned. Oops. But really the idea of atonement, being able to correct it if I can, to actually go there and correct what I did that was wrong, and if not, to be able to put something good into the world, to put some charity, to put some of my time, to do acts of loving kindness. And one of the customs that's beautiful on Rosh Hashanah is to take apples and dip them in honey. First of all, to take the sweet and dip it in the sweet, but also because the apple represents the individual and the honey represents the hive and what the hive was able to produce. So I am an individual in a community with my spirituality on the day that humanity was created. I think I did it. So I hope that with all that I've just said in Rosh Hashanah, 2 minutes, that we're able to realize there could be jam-packed things in there, or you can look at one thing and focus on it and build your Rosh Hashanah and fill it with that. In any event, I wish everyone a wonderful Rosh Hashanah, and I hope that you take longer than 2 minutes to actually allow yourself to enjoy.
So I often get DMs and emails from people asking me, especially on days when the market is down, oh my gosh, should I sell off all my stock? And the answer is very easy, no. Why would you sell your stocks when the market is down? Because you're going to lose all your money. But the harder question comes when stock prices are rising and people are trying to figure out, do I cash in and run, or do I hold for the long term? So today I'm going to be answering the question, how do you know when to sell off your stocks? And I wish someone had asked me these questions before I made my $40,000 stock mistake. Hi, this is the Focus Spender, and welcome to my channel where I teach you how to get out of debt, save more money, and invest so that you can increase your net worth and build generational wealth. So fun fact or not so fun fact about me, years ago before the 7-to-1 stock split, I sold my 12 shares of Netflix for $40 a share because I was so scared of the price fluctuations. The price had been going up, the price had been going down, and I bought it at $30. But when it dipped below $30, I got really scared and I said, if it ever goes back up to at least $40, I'm going to sell. So I sold it when it got to $40, and then the price continued to skyrocket and skyrocket and skyrocket. And now my 12 shares of Netflix would have been 84 shares after that 7-to-1 stock split, and the current value is $482. So my initial $360 investment would have been worth $40,490.52. Yes, I did cry a little bit after calculating those numbers. So to help you avoid that same fate, I want you to answer these 5 questions before you make your next sale. And just a quick note, I buy stocks to hold for the long term. So I typically do not sell my shares of any of my stocks unless there's actually a really good reason to, but so far I really haven't come up with any. So if you're wondering where I came up with these tips, the internet, specifically the Motley Fool. So I did a bit of research to see what investing professionals say about selling your stocks. So the first question is, do you need that money in the next 3 years? Are you considering buying a house? Is one of your children about to go to college? If that is the case, then it's probably a good time to start selling off your stocks, because you need to make sure that your money is secure, and you want to make sure that you give yourself time for any large price fluctuations. So if you have a kid that's about to go off to college, maybe they are, a freshman or sophomore in high school, and your stocks are doing really well, and that was the money that you were going to set aside to pay for their college education, then it is now a good time to start selling off your stocks. So the next question is, do you need to rebalance your portfolio? Maybe you are overweight in stocks versus bonds. Maybe 100% of your money right now is in stocks and nothing is in bonds. So you are at a high risk, and you know you're about to retire in the next 5 years. Now is the time to start rebalancing your portfolio, moving away from stocks, putting it into more secure investments like a high interest savings account, CDs, bonds, what have you, so that your money is protected in retirement. The next question you should ask yourself is, has your target price been reached? So that was my fatal flaw with Netflix. I didn't actually have a target price when I first went in and purchased my stocks, because if I did, I actually would have sold it for a much higher price than $40. When the prices were going up, it well surpassed $40. It probably went up to like 50 or 60 and then started coming back down. So I was scared, and I thought if I at least get to $40, I won't feel so bad if I sold. So I sold, and for a little bit I felt okay because I made $120, but then the price went up and then never stopped going up. So if you are the type of person that wants to buy and sell to make money right now, you have to come in with a target price. You can't just have the stock and say, okay, I think, $5 is enough of an increase. Now I'm going to sell my stock. You should have that number in your mind. And also another thing is that you can also do a percentage. Maybe you don't want to do a dollar value. Maybe you want to say, if the price goes up 20%, if the price goes up 50%, then that's when I'm going to start considering selling. But you should come in with that number in mind so that you don't change your mind afterwards. And then be happy with the results. So the next question you should ask yourself is, do you have a better opportunity for that money? So you might have a stock that is done fairly well, but nothing significant. Maybe you held it for a few years and the price has gone up 5, 10%, even 15%. And you're like, you know what? I could use this money somewhere better. I could use this in an ETF that is doing really well, or I need to put my money into a mutual fund, or, I want to invest more money in a different stock. So that is probably a good time to go ahead and sell off those stocks and move on to something better. And the last question you should ask yourself, which I definitely found from the internet and I'm kind of on the fence about, is, has the company been acquired? Have you ever noticed that if you own shares in one company and it gets bought out by a bigger company or vice versa, the price goes up? The thinking is that that is an excellent time to sell, because the price is likely going to jump really fast and might start to come back down. So if the price jumps really fast, then you can go ahead and sell it. If you would like more
Five signs you're not getting enough vitamins. The vitamin deficiency can lead to many health problems. Without vitamins, we feel weak and apathetic and become an easy target for various viruses. All you need to do to determine if you're getting enough vitamins is look in the mirror. The vitamin deficiency is usually literally written on your face. You can carry out your checkup while you're watching this video. Pale skin.
Look into my eyes.
Few people can boast of having a tan year-round, but if your skin has become completely white, compared to how you usually look, this is a sign that you need vitamin B12. With a lack of this vitamin, some of your red blood cells can start getting destroyed, which can release the bile pigment bilirubin. It is yellow and gives a pale shade to your skin. Without vitamin B12, you might feel despondent and tired. Other signs include fatigue, dizziness, and memory problems. To restore the correct level of this vitamin, you need to eat more meat and seafood. Puffy eyes. If you've noticed puffiness around your eyes and in your limbs, your body might be lacking iodine. Other signs that you have a lack of this nutrient are chronic fatigue, drowsiness, dry skin, and weight gain. The most common source of iodine is iodized salt. Iodine is also present in seafood, lobster, shrimp, seaweed, dairy products, and even bread. Colorless lips.
Oh, right. It's because I'm dead.
Pale lips can be a sign that a person lacks iron. Low arterial pressure and regular colds can be further signs of this. To recover to a healthy amount is not difficult. You simply need to eat more red meat, liver, chicken, eggs, nuts, buckwheat, and other foods that are rich in iron. Also, give up eating food with a high calcium content for a while. Bleeding gums.
Welcome.
Bleeding gums can indicate a lack of vitamin C. A reduced amount of this can lead to weak immunity, muscle pain, and problems with teeth. Vitamin C is found in lemons, oranges, and red peppers. Also, you need to eat more sour cabbages, berries, mango, kiwi, and watermelon. It's important to remember that these are all indirect symptoms of vitamin deficiency. If you've noticed one of the above in yourself, see a doctor to get a more precise diagnosis, as this disease can make your teeth fall out. Dry hair. Dry, brittle hair covered in a significant amount of dandruff could be a sign that you lack biotin, known as vitamin B7. This is often the result of using antibiotics. To increase B7 levels, you need to eat more meat, fish, fruit, vegetables, mushrooms, and pulses more often. More importantly, forget about going on a diet for a while. Do you get enough vitamins and minerals? Are you a healthy eater?
There are some people who think attitudes and actions towards pedophiles should be adjusted.
We have a school administrator in California actually arguing that we need to, and they are, even as we speak, teaching pedophilia to children as just another option for sexual orientation. Give us the story.
You know, this concerned mother asked the assistant superintendent of curricula in the Brea Olinda School District in California why they were teaching children pedophilia and normalizing anal sex. What she says is, well, you know, this is a sexual orientation that has occurred, and so it's, quote, really important to teach the children about this, and they are.
Answer me why you're teaching pedophilia in school to ninth graders.
Teaching what?
Pedophilia, pederasty, right here.
I've explained to you that this is done because we are talking about historical perspectives of how gender relations and different types of sexual orientations have existed in history.
a growing storm of protest over these sex ed books, with drawings so graphic we can't show them to you on TV, for students curious about their sexual orientation or just wanting to know more about sexual activities.
And different sexual acts that are extremely harmful to them, that are going to put them in physical, emotional, and mental harm.
Too much too early. Too much too early. Let kids be kids.
They're against a new sex ed curriculum that would be taught in Fremont schools. It would include discussion of sexual orientation and HIV in 5th grade.
It's very sexually explicit to a lot of them.
The guidelines are about sex trafficking, sexual orientation, and how to support transgender and LGBTQ students. Now, proponents say this is all needed to make sure that all students understand their sexual health and that they are aware of the reality of the world that we live in,
including Planned Parenthood.
We don't want students and children and parents to be in a situation where they are just mindlessly searching on the internet and who knows what they're going to find.
The Associate Superintendent for Instruction said the subject matter has been vetted by experts.
Is pedophilia a sexual orientation? A psychologist at the world-renowned Center for Addiction and Mental Health in Toronto says yes. Dr. James Cantor says pedophilia is an inborn condition, not a learned sexual behavior.
Nobody chooses to be attracted to whatever it is that they're attracted to. Nobody chose to be attracted to adults. Nobody chose to be attracted to children.
The theory is becoming more prominent.
Last fall, the American Psychological Association was criticized when its most recently published psychologist's manual called Pedophilia an Orientation.
A small group of psychiatrists and other mental health professionals is advocating changes to the way the American Psychiatric Association defines pedophilia in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, or DSM, saying those they call minor attracted persons are being unfairly stigmatized. Dr. Fred Berlin, associate professor at Johns Hopkins University Medical School, was a keynote speaker at a conference held by the group in Baltimore, Maryland last week.
If there are people out there who are attracted through no fault of their own towards children, we want to try to assist them.
But Berlin admits there were some at the conference who suggested sexual relations between adults and children are acceptable.
The whole conference was slanted very clearly to the notion that pedophilia was a normal variation of human sexual conduct.
The group Berlin spoke to has one goal: to move society a step closer to accepting sexual contact between adults and children, even decriminalize it.
Absolutely. Oh, they're very clear about that. Their goal is to take all shame out of the lust for children.
Pedophilia is an unchangeable sexual orientation, just like, for example, heterosexuality. No one chooses to be a pedophile. No one can cease being one.
At American public libraries and in public schools, we're inviting transvestites to come to read to our kindergartners who actually have records, twice it happened in Houston, for having molested kids in the past.
Listen, I am the least likely person in the world to be telling you what I've been telling you. Seek for yourself. I was raised with a scientific outlook to research, see whether something is true or not. It's not about religion, it's not about tradition, it's not about what people told you. In the end, it's only going to be about you and God. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and the door shall be open. Ask, and it will be given. God is there to show himself to you. Seek him, and you will find.